Evelyn sat behind the sleek reception desk of Solvex International, nervously clicking through emails while stealing glances at the mirrored elevator doors. The building towered over downtown with its polished glass and steely perfection, a fitting symbol for the man who owned it, Adrian Wolf, the youngest tech CEO in the city's history. She had heard all the stories when she joined the company 6 months ago, how he was ruthless in business, brilliant in strategy, and entirely uninterested in small talk. Most staff only saw him during quarterly meetings, always from a distance, always composed. But everything changed the day he walked past reception and actually stopped. Adrian didn't believe in distractions. His world was driven by timelines, figures, and results. Yet the moment he looked up and saw Evelyn, her calm, quiet gaze meeting his, something shifted. She wasn't particularly flashy, no high heels or heavy makeup like many in his executive circle, but there was a clarity in her that intrigued him. He had walked past that desk dozens of times and never once paused. That day, he asked for the building's maintenance report, something his assistant could have easily handled. When she handed him the file, their fingers brushed, and it was nothing. And yet somehow, not nothing. Evelyn didn't expect him to come back. CEOs didn't linger with receptionists, but he did. Small excuses at first, asking about deliveries, files, updates. Then came the coffee. He brought her one on a rainy Monday, saying she looked like she needed it. She blinked at the steaming cup in his hand, stunned. "You remembered I like cinnamon?" she asked. "I remember a lot more than you think," he replied, eyes unreadable. Rumors started circulating, of course. HR whispered. Admin staff giggled, but nothing happened, not really, at least not in front of anyone else. Their conversations were quiet, their glances brief, and yet the air between them was electric. She would catch him watching her from across the room during meetings. When their eyes met, she'd feel her pulse quicken. One late evening, after a long day of software launch chaos, she stayed behind to help the facilities team. Adrian passed through the lobby and saw her organizing files, shoeless, exhausted, beautiful in the most human way. He offered her a ride home. She hesitated. This was dangerous territory. But the rain had started again, and she was tired, and his voice had softened in a way that didn't sound like a CEO giving orders. In the car, silence hovered. City lights blurred past the windows, and he asked, "Do you ever feel invisible here?" She didn't answer right away. "Sometimes," she said finally. "But I don't mind it. Watching things from the edge gives you perspective." He nodded, and something in him cracked open. A man always seen, but never truly known. He dropped her off outside her apartment, but before she left, she turned back and asked, "Why do you keep noticing me?" He met her eyes. "Because you don't try to be noticed." After that night, everything tilted. The space between them tightened. He found reasons to involve her in internal events. Small roles, helping with coordination, handling guest lists, all things outside her job description. She was no fool. She knew what it looked like, but it didn't feel like a game. He wasn't the type to play them. He never made a move, never crossed a line. But he listened. And when they spoke, he wasn't the CEO. He was just Adrian. The first time he kissed her, it was nearly midnight on the rooftop garden of the Solvex building. The sky was wide and endless above them, stars scattered like secrets. They had ended up there after a company gala, both needing air. She was in a navy dress, hair pinned back, laughing about how she had spilled wine on the VP's shoes. And suddenly, he wasn't laughing. He was looking at her like she was the only person left in the world. "Tell me to stop," he said. She didn't. She couldn't. The kiss was slow and careful, like he was afraid she'd vanish. They didn't tell anyone. It was fragile, private, theirs. They met in early mornings, in quiet corners, through exchanged notes and stolen touches. Evelyn knew it couldn't last. Relationships like these never ended quietly. She didn't want to be a scandal, but how do you walk away from something that feels like the only real thing in your life? Eventually, the board noticed. Not through anything overt, but patterns, changes in Adrian's schedule, special assignments. Evelyn was called into HR for a friendly conversation. Adrian found out the next day and stormed into the legal office. "Is being in love with someone who works here a crime now?" he demanded. They warned him of consequences, headlines, investor fallout. He listened, stone-faced. That evening, he asked Evelyn if she wanted to resign. She looked at him, heart breaking. "You're asking me to leave?" "No," he said, voice low. "I'm asking if you'd leave with me."